my best friend and master functional trainer, April Emmers. Today we want to talk a little bit about the exercise commonly referred to as the bridge. Now I know a lot of people are like, how is that going to be a functional move that we use in everyday life? Well, let's think about it this way. We sit a lot as a culture, as human beings, especially during the time of COVID-19. Everybody is in front of a device, a computer, a cell phone. So our bodies naturally fall forward. A bridge, especially in the evening time, is a great way to really open up the anterior or the front part of the body and really activate the posterior chain, the part of our bodies that we haven't been using throughout the day because we've been sitting. So we want to keep in mind that even though the bridge may not look like it can be incorporated into your everyday life, it's really a great exercise that you can use to help bring you out of that seated, folded position and really opening up the body and activating the back. So I'm going to let April walk us through the bridge.
All right, so first I need you to lay on your back.
Okay.
All right, so what I want you to do is, in order to gauge how far your legs need to be in or out, is you want your fingertips and your heels to touch. So bring your heels. Good. Now, again, we talked about how this is a movement to really open up the anterior chain or the front part of your body because we have been in this position all day. But the only way to really do that, or the best way to do that, is to allow the posterior chain to fire and activate. And I'm talking from head to toe. So we want to make sure, as far as her head, that she pretends like there's an apple placed between her chest and her chin, and she wants to just softly hold that position. Okay, so we don't want her too tilted back, but we also don't want her down into her chest, because that can add a lot of stress in the neck, and then people are always saying, my neck feels really tense anytime I do these kind of exercises, I don't want to do it. So that's the best way to kind of gauge, is you want like a nice relaxed chin, like you're just kind of being able to hold an apple. Then the next step, before we even get to the bridge, is I want to have her roll her shoulder blades back. So just like in every video we've talked about now, we're always talking about opening up that chest, exposing that collarbone, pulling the shoulder blades together. You're going to do that in this exact same movement while you're on the floor. So then that started from the head, we're now on the shoulders, mid-back. I want her to actually kind of rotate her hips down into the floor. Good. And then we're going to apply that pressure in the heels. That's what's going to help us activate our glutes and our hamstrings. And even when we're up in the bridge, we're going to squeeze the glutes a little bit more to give us that inversion. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So now that she's in that start position, she's actually going to push through her heels as high up as she can to make herself into a straight line. So even from here, I might ask her to just squeeze the glutes like she's holding a penny, you know where, and she doesn't want that penny to drop. So in order to keep that penny from falling, she has to really squeeze her glutes together, and that's going to really open up the hip flexors, the abs, and everything in the posterior chain. She still has a nice engaged, opened collarbone, not engaged. Everything under here is nice and tight, and she's just going to hold that position. I might even bring her legs in just a little bit, just to make everything nice and in a straight line. And then she's going to relax down slowly. Again, anytime you're lowering or coming out of a position, please don't slam your body out of that position. Lower yourself down back to start. Take a couple of seconds and then do it again. So we're going to push, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good. Now, if I really want her to engage that posterior chain just a hair more, I'm going to tell her to take her fingertips and reach towards her heels. So that really helped pull those shoulders back down. That probably crept up a little bit during the transition of coming up and down, and now she's really feeling it. So if you want to pretend like there's a string down your backside, and you really have to try to pull yourself down and reach towards those heels, that's fire everything under there. And I'm pretty sure she's feeling nice and
It's burning.
good. So I'm gonna actually have her relax. Now sometimes people do end up getting cramps when they're doing this particular exercise. So if you start to feel a cramp, go ahead and back out of it and then maybe put a little bit more space in between your heels. Not too much, but just enough to kind of take that initial crunch tension off of the hamstrings, and then from there, still focus on trying to push up as high as you can go. And you can also not hold it for very long. If you want to work on just up and down, nice, continuous up, back down, up, back down. There's lots of ways that you can change the bridge to accommodate whatever needs that you need to be met. But initially, you would like to start with just the bridge and holding it, because that's a good way to really open everything up. Time it, start with for as long as you can go, and then work your way up to maybe like a minute at a time. And you can do this exercise pretty much any time of the day, whenever you want, as many times a day. It's not going to hurt you to continually do this exercise, especially if you are having a job that requires you to be sitting all the time, even though we're hoping that through these exercise videos, you are learning how to correct your posture over time. You won't have that much of a problem, but if you do, again, you can do these bridges anytime that you feel like you just kind of need to open up that front anterior chain of the body.
And it's really important to also remember that when you're coming and when you're really pushing and when you're holding, please do not hold your breath. It is important to remember to breathe. I know we see a lot of people, they'll go into a bridge, they're holding it, and we see them really like there's no breath coming in or out of their body. So make sure that you're always breathing. Just because you're pushing or just because your core is engaged, that does not mean that you are holding your breath. If you are holding your breath, you're probably doing it incorrectly, or you're doing it a little too advanced, and you need to go back down to the fundamentals. So do the modifications that we talk about. We really hope you enjoyed this exercise. Again, like April said, you can do this exercise pretty frequently because the muscles that are being activated are very large. It's not the smaller supportive groups, so it shouldn't hurt you to be able to do this several times a day throughout the week, and it will really help you open up the body and support your daily life. So thank you for joining us. We hope you'll stay tuned because another fun video is coming your way